All the people that I know from Australia have always been
killed by kangaroos.
have died from kangaroos, and it is my mission to avenge them.
Welcome to Drafted. I'm your host, Daniel Prentice, and as always, I am joined by my good friend, Preston Thompson. Preston, how are you doing, and what are you drinking this week, man?
Hi, Daniel. I'm doing good. My fiance and I had a visitor this past weekend, which was lovely because it's the first time that's happened in months, and as any good visitor does, she brought us some beer. So I didn't know it when I opened it up, but this is a Grind and Shine from Ghost River Brewing Company, and it turns out there's coffee in it. So I'm gonna be weirdly wired for this draft. It is
That's exactly what you want.
It is 8:20 at night, so I may be a little low on sleep, but it's like a coffee cream thing that I think has actual coffee. So I'm gonna be a little raring
Buzzing
to go.
Okay, in that case, we should just go record at like 11:30 tonight when you're like really weird.
When I'm
Come
in
back,
just a brand
put a
new
pin in it.
headspace.
Yeah.
Well, folks, that is the familiar voice of our second returning guest we've had in 2 weeks, Mr. Patrick Stegemoeller, who you may recognize from the fictional Athletes Draft. You can hear him every other week on the Sin the Fields podcast. Pat, thanks for joining us once again. How are you doing? What are you drinking this week?
I'm doing okay. Some people may know I broke my hand recently, so that's been a little bit of a bummer as I try to, stay alive.
Thankfully, you don't need hands for drafted. No hands needed.
I'm trying to get
That's true.
a left-handed, one-handed pop here. Oh, there we go.
yeah.
Oh wow, that takes talent.
Yeah, I've got a Montauk Summer Ale. It's got a nice crisp head and a smooth finish.
Wow. Are you getting paid for this by Montauk?
But I just like to model the sort of like behavior habits that I hope to have, so I figure if I just like promote everything now, then eventually the world
Dress
will...
for the job you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Well planned, Pat. You're well on your way, man. I'm back on the Kona wave. This time I'm drinking the Kona Castaway. They keep putting them on sale, so I keep getting them because it's good beer. The Castaway is the IPA, so I won't be caffeine buzzed like Preston in about 15 minutes, but I might be a little saucy. All right, Preston, what are we drafting?
Well, tonight we are drafting collections of animals to both attack our fellow drafters and defend ourselves. So I'm going to immediately clarify what all of that means. I would hope that most of our listeners have seen an image going around the internet that went viral like years ago, but still like finds its way onto my uncle's Facebook page every like 6 months, where you see, I believe it's like 9 different categories of animals to choose from. Pick 2, the rest attack you. We are expanding this to, we're taking in multiple versions of that same meme. We're expanding this to 18 different animals and quantities, and we're going to draft them one by one. Every one of our drafters will pick 2 to play defense. The other 4 will go on attack. So the reason I like doing it this way, as I was telling you off air, Daniel, is that because we only have 2 defending us, at some point, you, Pat, and myself will die. We will die in this fight.
Most likely.
So the question doesn't become who has the best team.
Oh, you mean in this hypothetical?
Yeah.
Also in real
We're
life,
talking
too.
about how we're just going to die.
Also in real
generally.
life,
We're all mortal human
yeah.
beings.
I try not to confront my own mortality whenever possible, but tonight's episode is going to make that difficult because I'll have a bunch of hawks attacking.
Yeah,
me.
we're going to be staring in the face.
Because you've only got 2 different groups defending you, you will perish relatively quickly, but it's about who can survive the longest and who can make the most effective defense around them to give themselves the most chance, even if it's the difference between 1% and 2%. So, if it's all right with you, Daniel, I'm going to run through all of the animals and quantities of them that are on our board tonight.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's such a simple draft, you might as well hit all the details of it.
It's true. There's only 18 choices and 18 picks, which is the first time we've done that. But
yeah.
For our listeners, maybe this is the time to slow it down to half speed if you want to take notes and do this yourself. So, 50 golden eagles, 10 Australian crocodiles, 3 grizzly bears, 7 bulls, 1 human hunter, 15 wolves, 10,000 rats, 5 silverback gorillas, 4 lions, 25 honey badgers, 300 yellow jackets, 12 Komodo dragons, 2 polar bears, 1 African elephant, 6 moose, 10 condors, 3 Bengal tigers, and 100 black widow spiders.
Wow.
That is a lot to choose from and a lot to consider.
Well,
I just want to applaud. Yeah. I just want to applaud Preston for the self-control it took for him to not end that by going, and a partridge in a pear tree, because I could see it in his
100 widow
eye.
spiders, 3 Bengal tigers,
right.
10
I think
condors.
as a codicil, we should be allowed to draft, in addition to those, anything from the 12 Days of Christmas. So if you want
5 golden rings.
Right.
5 golden rings
I'll take
of
my
power.
maids a milking.
I've got some ladies dancing that I think I have some like diversionary tactics.
12
Now
geese
those
defending
ladies,
against my
there will be
golden
casualties.
eagles.
Ladies, I have to tell you.
Not all of you are
will
going to
not make it. Not all of you.
Now, Pat is actually the perfect guest for this episode because I think like the second 9 Preston listed is new to all of us. But the first 9 went as viral as things can go on the internet. And Pat has, as strong a set of takes regarding those 9 that I've ever heard anyone have in relation to any topic.
Yeah. Would totally agree.
So last summer I was in a lot of weddings, and there's always that period like on a wedding weekend where it's sort of like, okay, it's like a couple hours before the service and the groom's starting to get nervous and everyone's just sort of like sitting around in a room somewhere like futzing with their ties. No one really knows what to do. So this was kind of my like ace in the hole, like, hey, which one would you guys pick? What would you want to do or whatever? And it was just like the dumbest thing that was still incredibly involving to just like make everybody forget about
it's a great like general icebreaker that people don't realize how strongly they feel about it until they start getting into it.
Right. And then you get like into like the wedding ceremony, you're like sniping with people like up on the thing like, no, dude, you do not understand, like bulls are the fastest, like
like whispering during the ceremony.
Right.
So yeah, hopefully Pat will bring some of that intensity. I'm sure he will. He always does in this draft. And he actually will have the first pick. So he will be leading us off hot, and then Preston will draft second, myself third. Wow. And then, as always, snake draft for 6 rounds, so we'll do the reverse order on even rounds. Pat, if you're ready, why don't you go ahead and get us started?
Okay, couple things I want to try to clarify here real quick. That is important. One, I think that in terms of terrain, we should be assuming that it is like random. Like we cannot assume exactly what type of terrain will be placed in, or else it becomes a little bit less interesting. Some of the animals become either nerfed or superpowered in certain terrains, so I think it adds a versatility element. That is interesting. 2, what are we saying about the hunter? Is it random person with a random type of
just like your mom
ordinance?
You get your mom.
Right, yeah. Is it like I've been hunting the most dangerous game for 20 years?
Is it like the world's most decorated sniper or something like
Eric
that?
Trump?
Right. Oh my god.
Should we just make it Eric Trump?
Yes. That's I think a very fair nerf, right?
Right.
Gotta adjust my tier list here.
So Eric Trump, the hunter, we have decided.
Okay. he immediately moves down on everybody's board.
All right, Pat. Who are you taking first?
Okay. Well, so this is interesting. So I'm going to go with the 10,000 rats first.
Ooh,
wow. Okay.
Now, I had just spent the last like 30 minutes coming up with arguments against the rats, assuming I would not have the first pick.
Why don't you hit us with those first?
But I think that they're the obvious first pick if you don't need to use them for defense, because
so you're using
I
them
think
to
they are
attack
like
me and Preston is what you're saying.
Right, they are an all attack force. All their weaknesses, I think, come from when you have to use them for defense. So in the original interpretation of this exercise, where you're picking animals just to defend you, then the rats are a little lower. But if you just don't have to worry about defense with them and you just get a tidal wave of rats, then I think it's the obvious attack pick. There's 10,000 of them. Just there's a substantial amount of biomass there. And did you know that rats are brave and they care about other rats?
How do they measure that?
They're fearless.
I
think
was
brave
reading,
is a combination of their stupidity, to be honest.
I was reading up on this, and they were doing scientific experiments on, I guess, the bravery and camaraderie of rats. And they have proven in labs that rats will not go to the treat to go free a fellow rat from some sort of a trap and then share the treat with the rat that they freed.
Huh.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
So I'm team rats. My rats are brave. My rats are kind to their friends, but ferocious to their foes.
Rats basically are the girl from The Help. Is what you're saying.
Whoa. Jesus. I'm not touching that.
Poll?
Right?
I'm not touching that.
Isn't that basically exactly what she says? You are brave, you are kind, you are smart. I think that's her exact words.
And crucially, there are 10,000 of them, and they will eat anything. They will gnaw through anything. I want my 10,000 rats.
All right, Preston, you're up with the second pick of the draft.
All right, well, I'm going with the 50 Golden Eagles. I don't know really what else to say about it here. I feel like the quantity, again, is a good value. Everything else that seems similar in strength is down near single digits. So I feel like, first of all, having something that's airborne is super helpful, super clutch. So clutch that I'm willing to take it first. And the 50 is just oh my god, that's a lot. Golden Eagles are really, really, really big.
Yeah.
And 50 is a big number. And that's your math lesson for the day.
They're large animals.
And it makes having 10 condors seem almost worthless compared to 50 golden eagles.
Condors are definitely bigger. Condors are massive. But I definitely think I'd rather have the golden eagles. Yeah, 50 golden eagles has got to be more mass than 10 condors.
So eagles are probably a pretty good anti-rat unit. So I feel like that puts you in you could use them for offense because they're going to be a terror swooping down, guerrilla warfare, attack and retreat tactics, or save them on D because they can rats have a lot of things going for them. Rats will survive a nuclear holocaust probably, but eagles I feel like actually are one of the few things that rats are going to have some trouble with because eagles can just swoop down.
Try and catch a golden eagle. Just try and catch it out of the sky. If you're a big gorilla or something, good luck. Especially when there's 50 of them. Teamwork, baby.
Now, I did basically no prep for this draft because I thought that would kind of make it more fun for myself. And I know we have jokingly decided that it's Eric Trump as the hunter, but I still think I have to take the adult human being with a gun to attack you two. I just... having a gun, this is something that I think, is one of the main points of discussion in the original game. Is how useful is a guy with, whether it's a shotgun or a bolt-action rifle. It's clearly not an assault rifle, it's clearly not a military-grade weapon. So, how useful is that really in defense? But it's clearly that, you almost have to take it because he would just kill you instantly. A good shot from a distance, you can't defend against it. So I'm going to take it and have the guy shoot at you guys, which I feel good about. And so there's a lot of ways I can go with the second pick. And I think I'm going to take the thing that I would most want to counter the hunter if I were one of the two of you, which in my mind is the African elephant. Because I feel like that is the thing that can most take a bullet. Unless you're hitting an elephant dead on in the brain, it's taken some shots. It's definitely not an elephant gun that the guy has in the picture. So maybe this is a mistake.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask, what gun does he have?
He just has a hunting rifle in the picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a standard, 1960s, the gun that killed Bambi's mom.
Right.
That kind of gun.
The gun that Dick Cheney shot a guy in the face
Exactly.
with.
No,
Like
that's
that
different.
kind
That's a shotgun.
An Elmer Fudd blunderbuss.
Okay,
Oh,
there you go.
hell yeah.
So the human man for me was in the lowest possible tier on
Really?
my board. And I know he has a gun.
Yeah.
I think in the environments where you can line up a shot, I feel like those are relatively few in the chaos that we're trying to create for ourselves. Unless you're trying to be like super, super sneaky, which I'm sure we'll get to later with some of these other weird groups like the spiders and all that. But it seems strange to me to have one of something when everybody else is going to have thousands of things and dozens of things.
Well,
I know like
later.
lining up a shot would be deadly, but
Yeah.
Pat has 10,000 rats. He could build an igloo out of rats. Like, you're not getting to him.
Well, no,
I don't.
Pat has already decided he's attacking me with his rats.
The rats.
Okay,
I
well,
mean, I don't want to I don't want to commit to anything because I feel like we'll say at the end, right? Like
Sure,
which
sure.
ones
Oh,
we're
yeah,
using to.
For
I mean,
sure.
you
But,
could make
yeah,
an igloo of
almost
rats. I feel
certainly-
like that's a waste of the rats, but
Right.
I just feel like you're not lining up a shot. I feel like you're not getting into position to do that.
well, I'm not.
Also,
my Eric
speaking
Trump
of things
is.
that can take bullets and live,
Eric Trump is gonna redeem himself by dying to save Prentice.
speaking of things that can take a bullet and live, like, there are a lot of places you as a human being can get shot and it would not be immediately fatal. Just FYI. So, like, if you're asking
Preston
Eric
knows.
Trump to be
Preston
a deadly
has
sniper,
deep experience.
listen,
Preston
in
has
where
been
exactly-
shot a lot.
What a fatality is.
for science.
That's a wound. That's a wound. That's a kill.
I did have
That's a wound.
in something that can only happen in, like, growing up in the South, just to clue you in a little bit, Pat. I did have a friend while we were growing up shoot me at point blank range with a hunting arrow.
What?
And just, like, somehow remarkably I was okay. Like, he hit me down towards the ankle and it hit like that little flap on my shoe.
Wait.
And I managed to be okay. I had like a really bad bruise.
Oh
but
my
yeah.
god.
Wait. Forget the rest of the draft. We need to. What do you mean you had him do that?
I didn't have him do that. He did that. It was not my choice to have him shoot me like literally 4 feet away.
That is how you
With a
framed
hun-
it, I
He
think.
was.
The way you
Okay,
framed
well, I
it was
didn't
like
mean to
you had
frame
like
it that
William
way.
Telled yourself.
Or yeah,
of,
I was
like-
I was like, bet you won't do it. No, that was
Yeah.
not the case.
Was
He
that
was
you, like-
showing me his cool shit, and he was like, "This is how you draw the bow," and then he let go.
Wow. So you're lucky to be here.
Not
today.
a good friend.
You're
Not a
lucky
good
to be
friend.
alive.
I am lucky. Yeah, I'm glad he was aiming at my foot.
Jesus. Well, anyway, we clearly feel differently about the value of a hunter, but I do want to talk about the elephant pick a little bit. I do think that they are kind of a good, or it is a good rat counter a little bit. An elephant can stomp on a lot of rats in a quick amount of time. I mean, 10,000 is still a lot, but I don't think there's really any great rat defense. But as far as rat defenses go that are available to me, I feel like it's one of the better ones.
At the very least, it would take a lot of rats a lot of time to like swarm up the elephant and consume it, like
I'm
like the
imagining-
army of the dead at the
Thank
Pelennor
you.
Fields.
Thank you.
All right, Preston, what do you take with your second pick?
Second pick. I'm gonna go in a defensive direction here, and I want a group that can kind of surround me a little bit, like a bunch of big linebackers. So I'm gonna take the 5 silverback gorillas. To be
Interesting.
honest, I feel like in areas of combat, silverback gorillas are just like upgraded human beings, like
Yeah.
big time upgraded.
That's kind of the
like-
thing, right? They're just like swole meathead
They've
dudes.
they've evolved to be basically like meathead steroid buff dudes that will just drag you across the floor. Yeah, I think they're like incredibly powerful. Also, we know from Disney that they can take gunshots and still continue to fight for at least some period of time. So also
Which Disney
kinda
work are
checking that box.
you citing here?
Tarzan, and there's others that I can't remember the name of. But I know Kerchak gets shot and goes down, but there's other instances I think in that movie
That
where girls get
beloved Disney sidekick, Kerchak.
Screw you. I still maintain that dads are life greatest sidekicks.
To address Preston's pick,
Yes.
I actually had gorillas as a little bit of a sleeper that I thought were going to fall. I was maybe going to pick up a little bit later because I think there's some strategy you can pull with them in which you get the gun, where you can, like, if you can take out the hunter. The gorillas seem to be pretty much the only thing with, like, opposable thumbs that could bring the gun to you. So I was going to have that be, like, a late round thing. But I think this is a slightly too early pick because I'm taking the three Kodiak bears here, which are just three bears. I think they fulfill a similar function to the gorillas, but are just like vastly superior.
Really? Well, even though I get two more.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, the average silverback gorilla weighs like 350 pounds.
Did you pull that off the top of your
He
dome,
knows
or did
this.
you actually?
This is like his main argument with this game.
Whereas, this up to fact check.
No, look it up. Look it up right now. Pull it up.
Yeah, they are smaller than you think. I think.
So moving on.
Yeah, they're just like big dudes. Like if you go down to Muscle Beach, you like hot glue some fur onto them. Those are gorillas. A Kodiak bear weighs 1,500 pounds.
Well, to clarify, these are
those...
grizzlies, not necessarily Kodiak bears. Kodiaks are like the Super Saiyan version of a grizzly, basically.
Correct, and that is what I am drafting.
Okay.
You're only getting the baby grizzlies. You're getting the real newborn grizzlies.
Great. I'm getting okay, but do I get their moms too? Because then I can create some like super strengths scenarios.
I gotcha. I actually had grizzly bears and silverback gorillas both like right next to each other. So I get your argument, but I don't think it's as clear cut as you're making it out to be.
God,
a bear would fuck up a gorilla. Easy. And I like them for a lot of the same reasons. I think they're great at defense. I can hide behind them. They definitely seem like they could take a bullet or two. So basically all the reasons that Preston just gave, but I just have mine are bigger and faster and stronger.
Are better. Okay.
You do lose the opposable thumbs, which I do think is
and
valuable.
2 units.
Yeah.
You only get 3.
Which is true. I do the opposable thumbs thing, like you could have them use tools. Like if you wanted to like jerry rig some sort of a like catapult somehow out of things you found in the jungle.
You
the
think
gorillas could help you with
are going to make a trebuchet?
Well, no, I mean you have to instruct them.
Listen, what's the difference between a gorilla and an Ewok?
I don't care.
Ewoks made all sorts of shit.
I don't care how much instruction you give to a collection of gorillas. They're never making you a trebuchet. It took hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution to get to the point where we were making trebuchets.
I'm not saying they're going to come up with the idea. I'm saying you like draw some rudimentary shapes in the dirt, and you're like, all right, just pick this up. Anyways, all right, moving on. I don't even know why I'm defending this. It's not my pick. I'm taking the Kodiak bears, the grizzly bears. Yeah. They're 7 feet tall. They weigh 1,500 pounds. They can run 35 miles per hour.
Are you talking about grizzly bears or Kodiak bears? Because you can't just draft things that aren't available.
Kodiaks are like good grizzlies. Kodiaks are grizzlies. Kodiaks are like the best version. Like if you're getting silverback gorillas, I'm getting Kodiak bears.
Well, silverback gorillas are clearly what's in the picture, though. Like, in the picture of the thing is just some regular-ass bear.
Yeah, that's fair. Preston almost listed them as brown bears, which would have technically been fair.
It's true.
But
it's true.
All right. For my next pick here, I'm going to make a selection off of the new list. I will take the 12 Komodo dragons. I don't have as much experience with Komodo dragons. I did some brief Googling before this, and I'm incredibly impressed.
Yeah.
For starters, they were basically like just dinosaurs that didn't die out. They've been around for like hundreds of millions of years, and they just were like, I don't give a fuck about some, asteroid collision in the Yucatan Peninsula.
I am the natural selection.
Right. So you got to give them credit for that. They are big-time survivors. They are huge. Up to 10 feet long, 330 pounds. I get 12 of them. They eat anything. They have razor-sharp claws. They have poison. They have venom glands. Like these are like actual dragons. We have actual dragons living on planet Earth right now, and I just got 12 of them.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's 12 more than I have.
Komodo dragons, when I was a kid, were my favorite animal. For basically all the things Pat just said.
Yeah, they're like real-life Pokemon.
Yeah, that's a great description.
For sure.
Also, like, apparently one of the most brutal ways to die. getting bitten by a Komodo dragon, because not only are they poisonous, but like they also have like this bacteria culture in their, like a very specific bacteria in their mouths that when they bite you just like makes your flesh start to rot. So
yeah, because it's from like 100 million years ago. We don't have any we don't have any immune system for that. But yeah, so that's my pick.
I think the only like drawback to the Komodo dragons is they may be 10 feet long, but they're not real tall. You know, like their upward reach isn't real high. So they're gonna have problems, I think, still with some of the bigger animals. But I mean, you know, clearly still a very strong pick. Like Pat said, they're 10 feet long, actual dragons with venom. So yeah,
right.
All right, Preston, your third pick coming up next.
I need a little bit of speed and agility, so I think I'm gonna go with the 4 lions. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna let you guys
Lions. Ouch. Mic drop.
I mean, I feel like the lions are, you know, their value is obvious. They're arguably the greatest land hunter of the animal kingdom. They work great as a team.
Also, I want some females on there.
Yeah, I mean, the male lions are bigger, and when they fight each other, I mean, that's why they have the manes, because like they go for the jugular.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's determined by what you want to go for. You know, like do you want the brawliness of the male lion, or do you want, you know, kind of like the stealth hunting in unison killing machine that is, you know, a quad. I kind of want the stealth.
Yeah. I want the stalking, right? And just the raw determination, because I have some defense and I have some things that are very big and cumbersome. I need something that's a little bit more sleuthy but still powerful.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
I like that pick.
So Preston takes the lions, which I think, again, obvious value. I am going to go for similar reasons to Preston, but I think as a slight upgrade on those reasons, I'm going to take 15 wolves. Now, I think wolves bring basically all of the same things that the lions are bringing, which is, you know, a great pack of hunters that are going to work together. Incredibly smart wolves. Now, they are smaller than a lion, but I get 15 of them compared to 4 of them.
Right.
So I think that's the value. But you know, I think they bring a very similar vibe to what Preston is getting in the lions. So I feel good about getting the wolves after the lions.
Great pick. Wolves are one of the best defensive units here. You know, they essentially are your scout cavalry. They're your eyes and ears. You know, they're out there. They're sweeping the perimeter. They're making sure that, you're not getting outflanked. You're definitely not getting outflanked if you've got 15 wolves buzzing around.
For sure.
They work great in teams. They communicate really well with like howling and stuff like that. I think that's a great pick, and I think you get good value getting them here.
I hadn't really considered the communication between the pack, which they're obviously like very good at.
Yeah.
And I think it just goes to show that Pat has given this more thought than I think I have. But like, I had not considered that you're right. They're basically a wall, like a tripwire, that when you trigger the tripwire, everybody's going to know.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Also, wolves are just super cool.
That does assume that Daniel chooses to use them defensively, which he only gets one other pick after that, so he's gonna have to give himself some like defense.
Well, I think I'm already using the elephant defensively, so I think I'm locked in there. Okay. I'm not sure. I think my wolves are good flex play. I think they bring value either way. Now this pick may surprise you guys, but I feel like you have been, maybe we've all been sleeping on them, but you know, then again, maybe I'm just extremely biased because of my experience with this creature. I'm going to take 300 yellow jackets as an attack animal. Have either of you ever been stung by a single yellow jacket?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It hurts.
It's
horrible.
What's your point?
It's horrible.
Really
and now
terrible.
imagine a
Really
swarm
sucks.
of 300 of them. And also try to consider what you are going to defend yourself with against a swarm of yellow jackets.
Bug spray.
Yeah, DEET.
Against 300 of them? I mean, you're
Just
getting
being
stung
in a
lot.
swimming pool.
I've got my N95 on and a full can of DEET. and
Yeah.
I'm just in
They
a
literally
cloud.
like you can literally go buy defensive shit for this at like Ace Hardware.
Okay, so here's another thing. Do we get to prep? Do we get to bring military equipment to defend us? I've always envisioned it like you are there. The only two defensive mechanisms you have are the two things that you're bringing to.
I don't think you get military equipment, but I think it's like you get like anything you could plausibly bring on a camping trip.
Yeah,
You know?
you get like a budget of like $200, but you don't get to like just go get a gun.
You don't get a gun. You don't get landmines, but you can have like climate appropriate clothing,
flashlight.
like an unlimited Patagonia budget.
Okay.
It's basically.
I don't think any bug spray is going to ward off a swarm of 300 yellow jackets before they are able to do significant damage to you.
That's a fair point.
Not the kind that
point.
the FDA will allow.
I'm just gonna have to try to avoid the yellow jackets at that game. Like, because if all 300 can like get to you at the same time, then you're just like praying for death.
Exactly.
So,
So that's why I'm
yeah.
taking him here. Pat summed it up perfectly.
Yeah, it's probably true. I had them just so low, but I don't know. I guess that's right. It seems like you could easily defend on this. I defend myself against yellow jackets every day of my life. That I have done for a long time. Not 300, no. But I feel like if I just jump into a swimming pool, then like it seems to deter them. They don't seem very determined.
I mean, I feel like the likelihood of there being a swimming pool nearby is low.
Or if a swimming hole.
Right. Sure.
Swimming
right.
hole.
Any pool of water that you will be able to jump into to immediately get away from the yellow jackets. Also, are you like, can you just hold your breath forever? I mean, the yellow jackets their one aim is taking you out. They're gonna wait for you to come up.
This isn't about surviving. This is about surviving longer.
Right.
like understanding that your time has come and trying to move the clock backwards as far as you can. So yes, 300 yellow jackets would be bad, but they wouldn't be the worst.
Yellow jackets are going to be viable against us, but I think most of the other creatures here, the yellow jackets are going to not bother that much.
I don't know. 300 of them. I think 300 yellow jackets would take out a lot of things here.
You're also thinking like, if I have 5 gorillas on me, you're going to send all 300 at me, or are you going to divide them amongst the whole team, and I'm only going to get like 40?
Well, I'm not going to reveal my battle plan to you. That's not part of the game.
Oh, I was so close. Dang it.
That's for subs only. We do 6 hours.
We bring on like some
immaculately
military
detailing
general to help us plan out our in-depth battle plans against each of you.
No, we should create like a board game app for this, where it's like you draft your animals, and then you get to like have some rudimentary strategy and see what happens. That's too good of an idea to give away for free.
Honestly,
so let's
not a bad idea. But Preston,
let's move
you are
on.
up with another pick, your 4th pick.
Okay, I feel like we've come to the point in the draft where we're now starting to take the things that are like pretty low on everybody's board. I have not found any superstars that are.
We're
left.
past the
I guess
halfway
I could
point.
be convinced otherwise. Yeah. So this is tough.
I think there's 3 superstars left on the board for the record.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't want to give away too much of my thought process here, but
I think I probably agree with that, by the way, Pat.
I would like to see if I took 7 bulls, maybe I could ride one and become considerably more
for like
evasive.
8 seconds.
So I'm going to take...
If you're a pro.
Well...
He's going to spend 5 months beforehand going to honky-tonk saloons and training.
This is a legit question. Like are the animals that are on my team, are they like cooperating?
Yeah,
yes.
I think so.
Yeah. Then I could ride a bull, right?
You don't have like complete like video game control over them,
right?
But they're like
I can
friendly.
give direction
your
and they
team.
can respond, sort
team.
of.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I feel like I'm gonna take the 7 bulls and ride one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like
His
that.
name is Jeffro.
I think the bulls are another good anti-rat unit.
Interesting.
Because they can like charge into
the tsunami of rats.
Right, exactly. And because the bulls they're going to be moving fast, they've got hooves, so they're trampling. The rats are going to have trouble, climbing up on them. So if the bulls like keep moving back and forth, so I think they're a good anti-rat unit. All right. So for my next pick here, so I've got 3 but I only get 2 picks, and I don't think that the third one is going to come back around here. I am going to go with the honey badgers here. 25 honey badgers. Honey badgers are, I mean, they're not very big, clearly, but they are really tough. And I just want to throw a couple things at you here that I think give them some really good value.
Give me the numbers.
So for one, within a minute, 2 minutes, they can dig a hole in basically any ground that they can completely cover themselves in. So I've got like 25 like special forces like who can just at any time just
you
like
found
dig.
a way to get landmines.
Right. I found it's furry, sharp landmines. I think they're going to be fine against yellow jackets because as we all saw in that honey badger video,
that's true.
Like they just do not care. They'll go into a hive. They're whatever, and they'll eat anything. They are incredibly thick-skinned. They are resistant to snake venom. They're resistant to any sort of like animal bite, basically. And their skin is rubbery, so if they're caught in the mouth of a predator, they can like writhe around and break loose. Like they're pretty incredible creatures.
Yeah, pound for pound,
they have enough
I would say,
bite force.
like the best animal you can take in this scenario.
Right.
The only downside is that they are small.
They are small, but I feel like I wanted because I went with the bears, which there's only 3 of, so I wanted a little bit more mass here. I've got the 10,000 rats, but right. They're off doing their own rat thing. Also they pack a punch. They can break tortoise shells in their teeth. Like they have the bite power to break a tortoise shell.
Jesus.
Right? So yeah, I think that they are sort of like a jack of all trades. They are vicious. They will fight to the death, and they are like. You can like chop off like 80% of their body and they're still going to be,
right.
Going for it.
This feels like a great spot to get honey badgers. Other than, the size, like I mentioned, there's not too many complaints I can lobby against this pick.
So, and then for the next pick here, I'm going to go with what I think is an upgrade on the lions. The tigers. The 3 tigers. I think tigers give you, here's the thing. They give you less teamwork. The lions are going to be better working in a team. I wouldn't want to use the tigers for defense. Tiger's a little more solitary. But in terms of just like actual combat ability, I'm taking the tiger over lion every time. Did you guys see that video from a few years ago about it's the tiger who fought a lion in a zoo and killed it with one swipe?
No.
Yeah, just a single right to the throat.
Well, to be fair, that's a lion that has been raised in captivity. That's not super fair.
Why were they in the same spot?
That lion hasn't had to kill its entire life.
I can't speak to those individual creatures, but I will say is that a quote from the zookeeper from that, which is apparently the kind of career that qualifies you to say sentences like this. What I've seen from tigers, they seem to be more aggressive. They go for the throat, go for the kill. Whereas the lions are more, I'll just pound you and play with you. Oh, no. So, I mean, there's actually a couple of different ways to... Huh.
That's not
reading it out loud now.
But...
So, are the tigers so much better than the lions that it's worth having one less of them?
I mean, one hit kill... I mean,
tigers are huge. They are the biggest cats.
Tigers weigh like 300 pounds more than lions do. It's like 800 to 500.
Tigers are really
something
big.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do think they're close in value. I do think they're very close. They're like I wouldn't call them an upgrade on the lions because, as you kind of alluded to, Pat, they're kind of filling different roles. Really, I think.
Sure, that's a good point.
But yeah, I mean, tigers. Great pick. I had them.
Tigers, I will say,
as one of my best remaining picks for sure.
If we end up in an area that has water, which again we're doing random terrain, tigers are probably the superior pick. I mean, they're stalking. They can basically turn into an alligator in the water, like with their nose like barely above the surface, and you were lucky to see them coming. So that's definitely superior.
To be quite honest with you, getting tigers in the 5th round, I think, is probably an oversight on all of our parts. I mean, I know there are only 3 of them, but
I don't think so.
Really?
I was not going to take tigers and lions. I feel like they kind of cover the same spot.
That's
because I thought about it last round. I skipped them over.
But I mean, getting tigers in the 5th round is tremendous value, in my opinion. Okay, well, Preston, you're a penultimate pick here.
I think I'm just going to take the raw strategy here. I don't think this team member adds a lot of value, but I think it takes away a lot of value for the two of you. And I'm going to get the 10 condors.
Mm-hmm.
And I have basically the only flying predators.
Yeah, that's fair.
I know Daniel's going to say, well, I have yellow.
No, I would never put them in the same category. How dare you?
Now, the reason I don't like this is because 10 condors, if you're trying to like balance this out as a video game and make all the teams equal, like 10 condors is like too few condors. Condors are nice and powerful, but like 50 golden eagles, 10 condors is not
also,
great.
are there 10 condors left? Like in the world?
Yeah, this is irresponsible.
That's a great point.
It's actually this is ecologically irresponsible, Preston, for you to...
I have all of them on my team. They're all mine now.
You don't send them into combat. You send them, like, just go to safety and reproduce.
It's true. Also, like, another thing, condors, and I'm going way off my memory here of, like, that one time I watched Planet Earth at a friend's house, but condors, to my memory, can stay in the sky for a just unbelievable amount of time, like 40 hours or something.
I believe that is true.
They don't need to come down for a very long time. So if we're going to go with the weighted out version,
they're like
game,
the deep sea whales of the sky.
Yes. I've always said that. It's so funny you say that. That goes through my head at least once a day. Any other thoughts on my condors pick?
No, I mean, I think it's smart for you to secure air superiority here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are my last two picks. I feel like there's an obvious two selections that I think I have to take.
You have to.
I'm slightly tempted by crocodiles because we talked about like getting dropped in, random terrain. Like if we are dropped in water, then the crocodiles probably become like the number one pick. But I feel like none of our picks have been built around that premise. So I think I'm just gonna instead go with the 6 moose and the 2 polar bears as my final 2 picks. I mean, moose are humongous.
Massive.
Tanks.
And angry and mean. Tanks. I mean, perfect word for it. And polar bears.
And if you catch them in mating season, they're one of the most destructive creatures on the face of the earth.
I mean, like
they have a very high kill rate in North America.
Yeah.
My question is, are moose antlers sharp?
No.
I don't think this makes them better or worse.
I don't think they're what you would
think
of as sharp. No, they're not pointy like deer antlers, really, but they're huge.
They're closer to like a club.
Yeah.
I know they're huge, and if swung with some force, it's like getting hit with a bat. But they're not like stabby.
No, they're probably not puncturing you. Also, just want to say, like polar bears, I feel like getting them in my last round after grizzlies went in the second round.
Huge.
Immense
huge.
value. There is one fewer, but polar bears are bigger. Like they're the biggest bears.
Right. And they're the only bears that have a taste for human flesh.
Well, I don't know that they're the only bears, but also very like amphibious. Like they are quite valuable in water. I mean, they do a lot of hunting in the ocean. So now, Preston, here's your final pick. There's only 2 things left. So we'll get to have like a real Mr. Irrelevant here, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's the 100 Black Widow spiders or the 10 crocodiles, and I gotta tell you, I feel like my entire team hinges on what I do here, and I'm not sure.
It's always a good spot to be in for your last.
I don't know. No, I think I'm gonna go with the Black Widow spiders. I feel like crocodiles cover an area that I've kind of already got.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rules surrounding the engagement here on the battlefield are very vague. We have not really set out like when it's going to be, like how big the area is, or whatever. When we get to attack, is it day, is it night? Like we don't really know. So like I feel like taking flexibility is value. And you guys did clarify that my team gets to work together. Mm-hmm. So in theory, one teammate could carry Black Widow spiders on them and not die. And then basically like just transport them like a small grenade to the place they need to be.
So I think the problem with the Black Widow spiders is that while deadly, it's not instantly deadly. Right? Like I don't know exactly how long it takes to kill a human. I certainly don't know how long it takes
also
for them to kill
Black
other
Widow
animals.
venom does not actually kill people. Like
It just, like,
they're
heavily
like
incapacitates.
there are like over 2,000 Black Widow bites a year, and there have been no deaths since 1983.
Are you serious?
God, you really prepped for this.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Well, but I mean, they've got to make you really sick at least, right? Like, but even
So
then,
you get,
it's
you
taken
get
a
like
while.
abdominal cramps, muscle spasms. Symptoms last for like 3 to 7 days.
Yeah, I mean, so it sounds like a rough
Yeah,
time.
This is all from Wikipedia.
Nobody's not a one of us is making it more than an hour. So so it letting up after 3 days is fine with me. I feel like if it it can also incapacitate Eric Trump or incapacitate, I don't know, animals that are similarly sized to human beings, which, to be fair, aren't many on the list, like an 800-pound tiger.
Okay, well, so Pat is saddled with the 10 Crocs as his final pick. How do you feel about that, Pat?
I am glad I have the Crocs as opposed to the Black Widows, but I think those are definitely the last two picks. So we did a good job in that those were the two off the board. I think the Crocs, if it's a water heavy environment, like if we're in the rainforest, and there's a lot of just sort of like murky water involved, the Crocs are huge there. So I like them for the potential upside of a water heavy environment. And Crocs are tough to take out.
True.
Like
built-in armor.
Especially if I can get like Chinese river crocodiles, their armor is 360. They have armored bellies too. Although they're a little smaller and not as long as their North American cousins.
Well, these are Australian crocodiles, we all decided.
These are Australian crocodiles.
The biggest of the
I don't
crocodiles.
know shit about Australian
They're the
crocodiles.
biggest.
The biggest? All right.
The biggest
I
and the
like that they're
meanest.
big. And they're Crocs, too.
Yeah.
Like, because gators are pretty tame, right? You know more about
relatively,
this than I
yes,
do. Like,
far more tame than a crocodile. And on that note, our draft is now complete. Pat has 10,000 rats. That's just too many. 3 grizzlies. He has, how many Komodo dragons was it? 12 Komodo dragons, 25 honey badgers, 3 tigers, and 10 crocodiles. Preston has 50 golden eagles, 5 silverback gorillas, 4 lions, 7 bulls, 10 condors, and 100 black widows. And I have the 1 human hunter, known as Eric Trump, 1 African elephant, 15 wolves, 300 yellow jackets, 6 moose, and 2 polar bears. So much more to discuss. We'll do that right after a quick breather. All right, we are back. And the first question that I usually ask, I cannot ask this time. Usually, of course, I ask if, who did you want to take or what did you want to pick for your team? But you kind of ran out of slots or ended up not working out for the other picks you had. But everything that could be picked was picked. So I want to ask you guys this week, what animal do you guys wish you could have added to the pool? I think it's like probably too hard to come up with a number, but if you want to come up with a number, feel free to do that as well. But what animal do you wish had been available for us to select in this exercise?
So I think the way this set list becomes interesting is when you have things that are seemingly ineffective, but you have a high quantity of them. So I thought about, this is just such a weird choice, but I thought about the balancing you would do if you could have 150 giraffes. Would any of you have taken 150 giraffes? No?
Giraffes,
Like, not at any point in
giraffes
giraffe?
are sweet, docile creatures.
yeah, but that's just so much biomass. Like, that
the docile
buys you...
stuff's the docile stuff's going out the window. Like, if you've ever seen them fight, they swing their necks back and forth like crazy people. Like, 150 is like, considering like the polar bear was like 2 or the silverback gorilla was like 5. Like, that kind of massive animal to get 150, I feel like would have been. I feel like I would have taken them maybe like.
Also, just like, if nothing else, it buys you time. Having 100, if you play defense with them, you can just like hide behind one of them.
It's
and
cumbersome.
Then the other animals are playing whack-a-mole.
How are you gonna hide behind
trying to get to you?
For sure.
Their body starts
You can hide on
above your
top of
head.
the giraffes.
I guess you could ride a giraffe.
You can hide on top of the
ride a giraffe,
giraffes.
I suppose.
Yeah.
My pick was going to be, I wanted to think of an animal where it was like, I wasn't sure how effective it was, and it was almost less about how effective it would be for this and more, I just wanted to see like what kind of takes you guys had about this animal. So, kangaroos.
That's a fun one, actually.
right?
Great hand-to-hand combat fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Are kind of naturally like aggressive and protective, so I feel like they slot in. You don't have to do a lot of like behavioral pushing to get them to hit.
They potentially have some like combo value if you could put like a honey badger in the pouch, and all of a sudden the badger like pops out and it's like surprise.
Sneak it through security somehow. No, I think it's interesting. There'd have to be a lot of them. Like I think the right balancing is something like 30 maybe. Maybe more than that, actually.
Kangaroos kill giraffes. Kangaroos. I could be making this up, but I feel like kangaroos kill a lot of people every year.
I don't think that's true.
I know they attack a lot of people. I know, like, but similar to what we said about alligators, where like the people that get attacked by kangaroos are most of the time asking for it.
All the people that I know from Australia have always been
been killed by kangaroos.
have died from kangaroos, and it is my mission to avenge them.
If you gave me an option of like maybe 30 or 40 kangaroos, like I'd certainly think about it. They're also like incredibly fast. And so if you're talking about like full grown kangaroos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they have a lot of lethality though? I mean, it's just a lot of punching.
But with their feet.
Like claws?
Kick punching.
Claws? Well, yeah. But do they
Okay,
have
so I have
claws?
numbers here.
All right, show me those numbers.
18 deaths caused by kangaroos between 2000 and 2010. Mostly indirectly. So they cause car accidents and kill people.
Mostly indirectly.
Yeah.
That's a very disarming thing to say
All right.
about kangaroos.
Well, okay. Well, they maybe probably wouldn't be that good of a pick, but we're talking about it.
But again, if you give it a high enough quantity, it becomes a good pick, right?
Right.
Like nobody would take a rat, but a lot of people would take 10,000 rats.
Yeah,
All right,
I think we'll touch on this in a bit, but I think the 10,000 rats is just, it's too many. I think it breaks the exercise a little bit. But for me...
It's a little overpowered.
For me, the animals I would like to see are two very aggressive tanks that actually do have a history of killing humans, which are hippos and water buffalo. Both just like nasty animals. And like hippos, I feel like another hole in the exercise is that there are some specifically the crocodiles that are just so clearly made for a water arena, and none of the other ones are.
Yeah.
So I feel like, if that was built in a little more, where, you could go for the little more marine approach, kind of a la Preston's aerial attack.
Yeah.
I think that would add some extra spice.
If the crocodiles came out of the water and then got like more dynamic at fighting, they would just be worse Komodo dragons. Right?
Right.
I mean, a Komodo dragon is basically just like an upgraded non-water.
I feel like crocodiles
my
are probably
Crocs are my
stronger,
Komodo dragon understudies.
You feel like crocodiles are stronger than Komodo dragons?
If I had to guess,
I don't think that's right.
I had to guess,
They're bigger, I would say.
and also like the strength of their bite. I just think the problem with the crocodiles is like they're relatively limited motion-wise on land. Although apparently they are very fast, just for kind of like short bursts.
Yeah,
like as fast as horses or something crazy like that.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, stay away from crocodiles. Okay, next question. What was the worst pick of the draft? I mean, this is kind of a hard one because like nothing came out of left field, right? Because we knew the things that were going to be picked ahead of time. But like, which pick went way too early in your opinion?
I had the human hunter in the last tier, like the C tier. I did not think he would be going very early.
That's shocking to me. A man with a gun can kill you so quickly. It's not that he's like super great, but that, at killing the other animals necessarily, but him attacking you guys, I think is so strong. You don't really have a good defense against him.
I guess it's the range you like, because like all these things would kill you like infinitely quickly, but like I guess the range is what you're going for, like can kill you from distance, because like yes, a bullet can kill you quickly, so can a Bengal tiger. Like
I just think
pretty much everything on this list.
I just think the other animals are going to have a much better time defending you from other animals for at least a little bit than they are of stopping a man from somewhat far away shooting you with a bullet.
Okay, fine, that's maybe true, but it was your first overall.
Yeah, because I think it's like game changing in my opinion. Pat, what do you think?
Okay.
I think that the real strength of the hunter is that we now have to have a plan for dealing with the hunter.
Exactly. I don't think there's a good one.
It does change. It changes the gravity a little bit because, like you say, basically all the other animals, you'll be aware before they get you, unless it's like one that's hiding or something. But that range, that ability to be totally unseen and then just like KO, that causes you to have a plan. That said, I don't think it's that hard to come up with a plan for it. Depending on the terrain too. Like if it's just a wide open grassland and it's just like spawn and the hunter is 800 yards away from you and it's like, yeah. But like, I think that, and you ended up with the wolves, Daniel, but like if you have the wolves, you can like sniff out where the hunter is pretty quickly. That Preston, I think, is gonna be okay. He's got 50 eagles and 10 condors who can just go take out that hunter,
I'm not saying he wouldn't get his, but I'm gonna get mine more than I get got though. Like they're gonna go after it, and yeah, he gets one bird, and he maybe gets a lucky shot on a gorilla.
I'm telling him to shoot for you. I'm telling him, like, listen,
I'm
Eric.
riding a bull.
Listen, I don't care. Listen, Eric, you're going down.
I'm going like
you're
70
going down
miles
in this
an hour.
one, but you better get some damn shots off before you go out.
So for my pick here, and I hate to do this to you, Dan, because Preston just picked you as well. I'm not going to go with the hunter. I'm going to go with your other first and high end pick. I think the elephant was a little too early, and I totally see your strategy, particularly, but like once you already had the hunter, I don't know. It felt like getting the elephant was a little less valuable because part of your argument was like the elephant can definitely take a bullet.
You're the only
but so I took it more to take it away from you because I felt like the best hunter counter was the elephant. So it's like I'll take the thing that I think is most unstoppable, and then the thing that would be best at stopping it.
But see,
I do regret taking those two back to back a little bit. Mostly though, I still think they bring the value I had anticipated, but I think they hurt me in numbers so much. Like getting 2 1s with my first 2 picks really hurts me, especially with like you guys. I mean, you started with the two of the largest numbers you could start with. So I think that's what hurts me more than anything else. So yeah, and looking at your picks, I can't really pick a pick that I hated. So yeah, I think the elephant was probably too early as well.
Why is the elephant a good hunter counter? Like I have thought through this entire thing that like the good hunter counter is speed and evasiveness, and you're thinking like size, but like if you're like on top of the elephant or behind the elephant, like I don't know, it seems like you're very accessible.
So I think the best counter to the hunter, and I do think that like in the normal game the hunter breaks the game almost to the same level as the rats, maybe even more so. And I think the elephant is just the best shield. Like it's going to be able to take a couple shots. If if the elephant is between me and the hunter, it's going to be able to survive probably a bunch of shots if we're being realistic. If it's not like an elephant weapon.
Once the hunter has made himself known, like once the hunter gets a shot off, it's much easier to then go get him. So like the elephant buys you time to definitely deal with the hunter.
Yeah, the hunter in a good case scenario gets basically one shot.
Yeah. I mean, you guys clearly didn't agree. Almost certainly could have gotten the elephant later, which is why I probably agree that the elephant ended up being the worst pick. But I do think my rationale at the time was sound, I think. With the way I was thinking about it, I think still makes sense. Even if I didn't get great value for it at the time. But that leads me to my final question. Which situation? Remember, you're going to have 2 of your animals defending you, which I don't think we've specifically laid out yet. So first, before we get to this last point, let's hear Preston who's defending you and Pat who's defending you.
So I want the bulls for all the reasons I've said. My initial thought was like, give me the silverback gorillas, but I'm not sure that team could like stay together enough. Bulls are very fast. Silverback gorillas are also fast. So like, I want some flexibility. So I'm going to take both of those because if I end up in like the jungle, the bulls are going to be kind of useless. So
yeah,
I want just not knowing where to go. Yeah, I want both of those: the 7 bulls and the 5 silverback gorillas. So attacking my fellow drafters here are 4 lions, 10 condors, 50 golden eagles, and 100 black widows. So not a great ground attack. I'm really going for sneakiness here.
Sneakiness,
just like have a condor load a bunch of black widows up in its talon and then airdrop them,
just dangling from spider webs, so that you guys are going to be like, oh, that condor was so close to hitting me, but it just missed. Did it just miss? Did it?
Pat, what about you? Who are your defenders and attackers?
My defenders are going to be the 3 grizzlies and the 12 Komodo dragons. So I have just like tank brute size with the grizzlies. I can hide behind them if I need to. Like if the hunter, it makes itself afoot. The grizzlies can brute force people, and then the Komodo dragons are just absolutely lethal against pretty much anything that's going to come. Again, they're 10 feet long. They weigh over 300 pounds. They are dragons. They have razor sharp claws.
Seems like you could ride
they
one
have
like
venom.
a skateboard.
Well, and then that gets into my thing. And it's like, I kind of want to just hang out with them because it will make me feel pretty badass to be like the dragon lord.
Or like water skis where you've got like one under each leg and then you're just going along.
Yeah. Well, I could do that with my
like
Crocs. I could do that with my Crocs pretty easily. So then, I've got my Crocs out there if it's a more like, aquatic environment. I'm really just kind of, I think, leave them as like traps lying around, hopefully to attack people who might stumble into them. I've got my Bengal tigers, which are, they're like land sharks, basically. All they do is just kill. They're fast. They're going to be tough to deal with. The honey badgers, who, as you explained, are, just almost unkillable and will just never stop hunting you. But then really, my offense is all about the 10,000 rats. Like, I mean, that's just terrifying to even think about.
Okay.
Like, I'd almost feel bad about it. Like, I'd watch you get consumed.
You wouldn't want to watch.
You
would have to look away, I think.
Right.
You wouldn't want to see that. But yeah, okay, so now that we have the specifics laid out for defense and attack, whose position would you most want to be? So, like, you're not just
Dan, what's your
your individual team.
Dan, who are you?
My defense is my elephants and my 15 wolves. My singular elephant.
Right.
Yeah.
And then attacking are my hunter, my 300 yellow jackets, my 6 moose, and my 2 polar bears. So yeah, whose position would you most want to be in? Which, like, think of it like a video game. I think almost, like who's living,
Yeah.
who's the last man standing.
I'm torn between myself and Pat. I think the 3 grizzly bears and 12 Komodo dragons is like the versatility I was going for, but it might be a little bit better. That's really tough. The problem is I don't want the attackers that I've sent out coming for me. I really do think like the air superiority is a big deal. That's going to be like really difficult to deal with. So I guess I'm going to take mine for that reason, just because like it would terrify me to not have anything that could combat the things coming out of the sky.
How are you going to combat 10,000 rats coming at you from everywhere?
Do you guys think that a condor could pick me up?
A singular condor, not a chance.
2 of them could, but they would dig their claws in and it would really suck.
They would like rip your arms off.
So if I'm holding the 2 claws, if I'm holding a set with my left and a set with my right, and then they've got like the back of my
you
pants
have
or
your
something.
gorillas construct for you some rudimentary tarp of sorts.
Have your
and
gorillas
then your eagles and condors.
A flying plane that can fly you in the air, commanding your aerial attack from the skies.
I love that. I think that's a great idea. Thank you. You. Truly.
Pat, what about you?
I'm gonna have to toot my own horn here, and it's just by virtue of getting the first pick. I think like those 10,000 rats in attack are just really tough to deal with. I think I would go with Preston over Daniel. Again, it's just I think the back end of your draft was good. Like getting that moose and polar bear in those last 2 picks is really solid. But and I really love the wolves as defense, but I think I'm going with Preston here. Again, just in terms of like, it's going to be tough for you to get to him. Like none of your attackers, other than the hunter, and I think with the eagles and the condors, he can take care of the hunter fairly quickly. I don't see any of your attack really troubling him. Like he could just run away on those bulls for a while. And then just like
bull to
Eric
Right.
Trump definitely taken Preston out before he's able to get on one of his bulls, I think.
Absolutely not. Listen, Eric Trump hasn't taken me out up to this point. It's not happening anytime soon.
I think this is hard for me. I'm not going to take myself. I do regret taking the 100 elephant. Like I said, I think the numbers just don't play out for me. But look, I still really think that the hunter is an issue that I don't think either of you have a good answer for. I do think Preston probably has a better answer for it. Like I actually think the best play is probably to just make a wall of your 50 golden eagles that shield you from the hunter until something else takes the hunter out. And Pat really, I don't.
But he's using those for attack.
Oh, that's right.
seems
That's
like
right. So he can't even do that.
And it also seems like an ineffective use of birds.
I just don't know how you guys deal with a hunter. I really don't. But I'm still gonna take Pat. I think just because 10,000 rats is absurd. It really should be 1,000. I don't like so the numbers, because the rats are in the original 9, right? They're like the OG super viral game, and the numbers are 50 eagles, 10 crocodiles, 3 grizzlies, 7 bulls, 1 hunter, 15 wolves, 5 gorillas, 4 lions, and then 10,000 rats. Like, how did they get to 10,000? Do 1,000, please. And it changes the whole game, I think.
In the original game, it's a little more balanced because rats are terrible at defense. Rats are a horrible defensive unit.
But are 10,000
rats
a terrible defensive unit? I'm not sure. You could make a fort out of 10,000 rats. You could kill the rats and then make a fort out of them and have them be a shield, a rat shield. And it would probably be the best defense of the game.
I think the rats just have no stopping power. Like bulls can just charge through your rats and gore you. Fair. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think the rats are all offense, no defense. So in this exercise where I just only need to worry about them on offense, clear number 1 pick. In the original thing where you have to take them for their defense in addition to their offense, then it's a little dicier.
That's fair. I will say I do think my team is better than you guys are making it out. I think my team presents a real challenge that you guys don't really have a great answer for. But I will still take Pat's team. But of course, it's going to come down to what you all decide on Twitter. So be sure to vote for the winner of this week's episode at DraftedPod on Twitter. You can hit us up there for ideas for future episodes as well. And you can email us at draftedpod@gmail.com and like us at facebook.com/draftedpod. You can communicate with us any number of ways. But Pat, thanks so much for joining us, man. This is a fun one. I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, anytime, guys.
Remember, be sure to check out Pat at Sid in the Fields. For Preston and myself, thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you again next week.